It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. And now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Showtime, the Geno Jones Showtime. I'm coming to you live. Yes, today, 6:30 Eastern Time, 5:30 in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. out on the West Coast. Please subscribe to the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. You and everybody you know, and you and you and you. Check me out. And if you miss me live, don't worry about it. We got you, right? You can see the Geno Jones Show live 24/7. Actually, 366 and a half days this year, the year of our Lord 2024, which is a leap year. That means there are 29 days. So what happens if you were born like on February 29th in a leap year? So I guess you celebrate on March 1st or February 28th, or do you like age differently? So like you only have a birthday every 4 years. So you're 1, then you 4, then 8. How does that work? I don't know. I have to find out. Inquiring minds want to know. Now, if you want to know why I was not live at 6:30, or why, in case you got a notification that I went live approximately at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time, you're saying, okay, Geno, look, we know you're a brother. We know you black from the south side of Chicago, but that doesn't mean that you can show up on CP time. The hood, they know what CP time is. For my those who are melaninly challenged, that means you ain't got a lot of melanin popping, and you don't really understand what CP time means. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. All right? So I was on CP time. I was a little late, a little tardy, but I had a good reason, because I had a chance to have a sit-down conversation for a good 10 to 12 minutes with President Joe Biden. For my radio station, Star 99.7. Shout out to the entire team, from my operations manager, Steve Crumley, and my radio sister, Savannah J., who's going to be a part of it. You'll hear her as part of the conversation. And we'll let you know exactly when it's going to be. It'll air this week, so tomorrow I should be able to let you know exactly what morning that you will be able to listen to Star 9. If you're listening online, star997.com. You can download this TuneIn. It's called, the app is the TuneIn app, like TUNEIN, TuneIn app, or just go to star997.com. Put that in your search browser, type that in, and then you'll see Listen Live, the little icon, all that will pop up, and you'll be good to go. So it was an honor to sit down with President Joe Biden, who is he's a good man, and he has a good heart, and people are sleeping on him. People don't give him credit. It's a whole lot. You know, my millennials and Gen Zers, I know you are in your feelings about what you're seeing in Gaza with the racist current Israeli government, flat out led by a white nationalist. They got other white nationalists that's even more racist than Bibi Netanyahu in the cabinet. It's not my opinion. You can even read like one of the main Jewish newspapers like Haaretz and find this out for yourself. I've talked about it, how unpopular Benjamin Netanyahu is in Israel. Who's like, really, we not down with you killing tens of thousands of innocent Palestinians to go after Hamas. Because now all of a sudden I heard on the news that now the Israeli Defense Forces are going to engage in more targeted strikes, targeting Hamas leaders. That's exactly what I said all along. You could have did it all along, because you got the biggest, the most sophisticated, arguably military, definitely in the Middle East. There's no military in the Middle East that is stronger militarily than the state of Israel. And one of the main reasons is because we give them rounded off, $3.8 billion in aid every year. Now, for my millennials and Gen Zers, quick lesson. That doesn't mean that Joe Biden say, hey, send the state of Israel $3.8 million, $4 billion on January 1st. It doesn't work like that. This is something that Congress, because the House of Representatives, so Politics 101, the House of Representatives, they control the money. They're like the business manager at your job or whoever in your house, your mom or your dad, whoever basically manages the budget, who writes and signs the checks. That's what the House of Representatives do. The Senate, they kind of oversee things. They write legislation, just like you have legislation or laws that are written in the House of Representatives that can come from the House. A lot come from the U.S. Senate. U.S. senators also vote on who will sit on the Supreme Court. So you got all these MAGA Supreme Court justices, minus Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first black woman to be appointed a Supreme Court justice, was put on the bench by President Joe Biden, as opposed to the three MAGA cult judges that voted to basically remove. There was a case, Roe versus Wade, Roe v. Wade, 1973, that said that abortions should be safe and legal in the United States. So the Supreme Court said, well, we're going to strike down Roe versus Wade, and we'll let the states do what they want to do, in essence. All right? Quick Politics 101 and like Law 101. So now you have all these southern states, primarily all in the South, from North Carolina, definitely from South Carolina, 6-week abortion ban. Florida, 6-week abortion ban. I believe a 6-week abortion ban in Georgia or something similar. You got a 6-week abortion ban. Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, all these states had, as a matter of fact, they had laws in place. Show you how they plan and get down. They had already pre-written and voted on and had the governors sign off on laws or legislation that because they knew that orange jumpsuit jackass Hitler had put 3 Supreme Court justices that got in front of these U.S. senators and lied through their teeth and straight up lied, perjured themselves, and didn't even go to jail. And said, oh no, we're not going to affect Roe versus Wade. We believe in something called precedence, which means if something's already been established, it's law, then we're going to respect that. That was bullshit. And they knew it. They were just going to say, look, we're going to get on here and lie and say whatever we need to say. So and why the Democratic senators went along with it, because the Democratic senators, they knew they were lying. I digress. So here we go. 3 MAGA cult justices, Supreme Court justices, said, now it's enough of us. Now we can strike down that decision that came down in the mid-70s, Roe versus Wade, that will allow all these states to now come up. As a matter of fact, we know they already have the abortion bans already written in place, signed by the governors, just waiting for us to do our thing. So the Supreme Court, the MAGA Supreme Court leaders signed off on it, or the MAGA cult Supreme Court majority, which is now 6 MAGA court justices, even though the head of the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice, John Roberts, would probably say, I am not part of that MAGA cult. If you are not a part of it, you are condoning it. You allow it. There's a term in sports when you talk about coaches and what coaches teach, like when it comes to playing dirty or cheating, either you are teaching it or you are basically allowing it to happen. You are enabling it. You are condoning it. You didn't teach it, but if you see it, you don't say nothing. So you are just as guilty. So that's your quick lesson, ladies and gentlemen. But let me just reel this in, back to having President Biden, having a chance to sit down with him at a local, legendary, iconic, black-owned restaurant and they specialize in not just soul food, but just food that's good for your soul. Hannibal's Soul Kitchen. Shout out to my man LJ and his daughter, his entire family, LJ's wife, just all of them, just beautiful people, and the food is fabulous. So I had a chance to sit down with President Biden at Hannibal's Soul Kitchen near downtown Charleston, or as they say, on the east side. And we had a conversation for about 10 minutes. And I allowed the president to basically dispel all the myths and rumors. So now, young people, Gen Zers, millennials, folks is in the barber shop watching me right now, in the hair salon, or maybe you're like at your gate at the airport, you're at Hartsfield International in Atlanta, or you're at Midway in Chicago, or O'Hare, or JFK, or LaGuardia, or LAX, wherever you are. Getting on your flight or watching at the house in your den or whatever, or on your smartphone or your tablet in your bedroom, and you're saying, President Biden, I heard they say on TikTok, he ain't do nothing for black folks. Like Trump did. Trump didn't do a damn thing but enable more hate and racism and misogyny and sexism and homophobia, but I digress. So let's talk about what President Biden, here's some facts, because you have a right to be in your feelings. Like I said, a lot of millennials were in their feelings about what they see what's happening, even though President Biden and his Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, who we learned today, has prostate cancer. His doctor said it was caught at a very early stage. It's cured. They took, I guess there was a cancerous tumor or whatever, or maybe they took out his prostate, so he had the surgery. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, the big tall brother with the deep voice, President Biden and the Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, had all told Bibi Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, listen, don't go in and just randomly start killing tens of thousands of innocent Palestinians. Go after Hamas. You know how to find them. Hell, the leaders, over there in Qatar? So if you were about that life, IDF and Bibi Netanyahu, you know what the dudes who were responsible for the horrible terror attack on your country on October 7th, even though it took your administration and your military 7-8 hours to really respond. So you got to answer for that. But that's your problem, Bibi wannabe Trump Netanyahu. I digress. Let's talk about what President Biden has done, specifically for black people, but in general. Let's talk about the $130 billion in student loan forgiveness. Let's talk about that. There's a whole lot of black folks. As a matter of fact, about 2 or 3 months ago, right here on this show, I told you about how over 800,000 people got emails from the White House, from President Biden, saying, hello, and congratulations. Your student loan debt balance is zero, or your student loan debt has just been reduced by $10,000 or $20,000. Oh, by the way, President Biden wanted to reduce that student loan debt by $50,000 or more, but guess who got in the way? The MAGA cult members in control of the House of Representatives, because remember, I told you, the people in the House of Representatives, which are now controlled by a cult, a racist, sexist, homophobic, Islamophobic, misogynistic cult, said, no, we don't, these black folks, that's not fair. These folks, they didn't say it, this is the translation, because they knew that student loan debt forgiveness was going to help a lot of black people, brown people, Hispanic people, and a lot of poor whites, which they don't give a shit about. So for my poor working class brothers and sisters, one of y'all is always riding around with the Confederate flag and the Make America Great hat, that need a good dental plan that you could get if you had Obamacare. Well, I don't want that Obamacare. So you walk around sick, dying, stuff growing in your body, teeth falling out. But I don't want that Obamacare because that Negro, that's that Negro health care. Okay, suit yourself. Bite your nose to spite your face, as my grandmother would say. That's your own you. That's your problem. But $130 billion, 2023. Student loan debt forgiveness would have been more if it wasn't for the MAGA cult members in the House of Representatives that control what? The money. Yes, the purse strings. All right? Over 800,000 people, more than 800,000 have gotten student loan debt forgiveness. There's a lot of black folks that got those emails. Now, we need to see them on TV. Y'all need to be on TikTok talking about everybody, especially if you are black or Hispanic, even white folks that got it. Come on, y'all. Some of you all got it too. Y'all need to be doing these TikTok videos and Snapchat videos and on Instagram. Man, look at what my student debt was. That was my balance. Here, you see this email? Screenshot that email to where your student loan debt balance is now zero, or it's been reduced by $10,000 or $20,000. Let's talk about the child tax credits. President Biden mentioned that. Also, President Biden has given more money to HBCUs than any president, including orange jumpsuit jackass Hitler. Period. No president has made sure that the federal government has given HBCUs more money than President Joe Biden. And we have 8 HBCUs right here in the state of South Carolina. And we got Atlanta's got a ton of them. We got HBCUs all over America, in Florida, in Texas, in Alabama, in Louisiana, in Arkansas, in Maryland, in Baltimore, North Carolina, Virginia. Come on, Ohio. Y'all better stop playing. All right. Now, do you remember? Oh, what about 3 years ago, child tax credits? Oh, President Joe Biden? Yes, he was responsible for the child tax credits. A lot of people millions of people took half of the children who were in poverty, half of the black children in poverty in America, they were taken out of poverty when you got those child tax credits. $250 to $300 a month per child. So I've got a niece, she's got 4 kids. So she got like $1,200 a month. It changed her life. She actually came on this show to talk about how it changed her life and the life of her 4 kids. So all you all that got those child tax credits, and why don't you have them now? Oh, who controls the money in the federal government? You know, you've got the executive branch, that's the president and the vice president. You got the legislative branch, and it handles the money and the budgets. That's the Congress. That's the Senate and the House of Representatives. Specifically, they control the money. They control the purse strings. And then you have the judicial branch. That's your Supreme Court judges. All right, there's your civics lesson for today. So the reason you stop getting those child tax credits, because once again, that MAGA cult that is control of the House of Representatives, like, no, we can't afford that. We got to stop that. Now, you didn't get that with orange jumpsuit jackass Hitler. He didn't reduce your student loan debt. He didn't want to reduce it at all. He didn't want you to get those child tax credits. He didn't even want you to get the stimulus money, those stimulus checks. The idea came from the Democrats in the Congress, in the House, and the Senate during the orange jumpsuit Hitler's jackass administration. And so many people needed it, even the MAGA cult members, because of the pandemic and how that affected people. So he's like, all right, even these racist white folks that voted for me, they need this money. So I got a good idea, being the master marketer he is. I'm going to take a big ass, hold on everybody, let me just lean over here and do that. I'm going to take this giant big ass Sharpie, and I'm going to act like I'm a 4-year-old just scratching up the wall, because that's what it looked like. It looked like a 4-year-old just started scratching on this check. The whole check with his signature. Signed his name to it. Didn't want anybody, didn't ask for it. His administration, the White House, his White House, they didn't come up with the legislation. They didn't write the legislation. Those Democrats did. But he signed his name to it. But guess who made sure you got that second stimulus check, sexy red? President Biden. Not my feelings. These are facts. You can find them out for yourselves. So let's talk about the billions in student loan debt canceled partially or totally. President Biden, he talked about that with me yesterday. He talked about the child tax credits, $250 to $300 per child every month until the MAGA cult members took control of the House of Representatives. And that's why that money stopped. As a matter of fact, President Biden wanted to forgive $50,000 of student loan debt. But who stopped him? Don't worry. I'll wait. Oh, you know who. Say it with me. The MAGA cult members in control of the U.S. House of Representatives. So President Biden cut $130 billion worth of student loan debt, canceled totally or partially the debt of over 800,000 people. Make sure you got the child tax credits, $250, $300 a month. The same president who wants to sign the John Lewis Voting Rights Bill, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, who wants to basically reinstate the assault weapons ban, which they had in the mid-90s, which he talked about. He signed along with the late senator from California, Dianne Feinstein. He talked about that, and he talked about how he will restore women's reproductive freedoms. So come up with a federal law, a national law, if he gets control of the House of Representatives and keeps control of the U.S. Senate. That's another reason to why. Because you're not voting for President Joe Biden. You are voting for your own freedom as opposed to allowing people who want to oppress you and worse to do it legally. You will allow people to get in power who've been very open about their plans to oppress you on every level, to the point of where it might take a couple decades. If they had their way, they will return this country to chattel slavery. You already had orange jumpsuit Hitler saying that he would just tear up the Constitution. He would suspend it. Whatever this Constitution we got, it don't count. Now, I don't know exactly how that's going to work. Maybe you'll have an executive order where I can suspend the Constitution. I'm not a constitutional scholar, but I'll find out. But he says it all the time. I'll suspend the Constitution. I'll end the Constitution and blah, 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 blah. What did Maya Angelou say? When people tell you, more important, when she said, when they show you, and he is showing you with his words and he showed you by action the way he conducted himself when he was in office. When people show you who they really are and they show you and tell you, I will just kind of remix and amend with Sister Angelou, rest in peace. She's among the angels. When they show you who they are, believe them. And believe them the first time. But damn sure believe them when they tell you every time who they are and show you who they are. More importantly, when they show you. Because the words can say anything. But when people's actions and behavior speak, you should listen. You should watch and listen. So, write it down. So when you have this conversation, you can have this educated debate. You can go ahead and research for yourself. President Biden, what has he done for black folks? Man, he's given HBCUs more money than any president in history. Documented facts. Ain't my opinion. Do your own research. Over $130 billion Over 800,000 people, student loan. Talk to some of your friends. As a matter of fact, some people probably owe your ass money. You didn't know that they got this student loan debt canceled, did you? Got a zero balance, or got it cut in half, or got $10,000 knocked off, or $20,000 knocked off. They didn't tell you because they probably owe you some money. And they don't want you to ask for your money back. They're like, man, I'm still broke. Oh, but didn't you tell some, didn't, man, your student loan balance is zero. Didn't you post that, show that, screenshot that email that the President Biden sent you? That's a whole nother conversation about folks owing you money. And then owing you money, and then when they get money, they figure out a way not to pay you the money they owe you, but they can find something else to do with it, right? Hello, NBA All-Star Game. Hello, Super Bowl. Hello, the Bahamas. I digress. Hello, them new pair of red bottom Louboutins. Hello, Louis Vuitton bag, not the knockoff. Trying to show off. They're going to go down on Rodeo Drive, go down on 5th Avenue, go on Michigan Avenue. They're going to go into the Louis Vuitton store. I'm going to get the real thing. You're going to get really taken. Because you can't tell the difference between the real thing and the knockoff. I'm just saying. I'm not saying, but I am saying something. So I digress. Student loan debt cancellation, $130 billion and counting. And many, there are probably millions of black people who got this student loan debt canceled here in America. So people that probably owe you some money right now, and you didn't know it, so they sitting on a whole lot of money because they're not making them student loan debt payments. They just telling you that they still ain't got no money every month, and they still hitting you up for money. So I don't know where that money's going. I digress. And the child tax credits, you got $250 to $300 a month every month per child. President Biden, that was on his watch. He instituted that, and the only reason it stopped was because of the MAGA cult members in the U.S. House of Representatives. President Biden wanted to cancel up to $50,000 in student loan debt, but the MAGA cult members in the House of Representatives sued, and it went to the Supreme Court. And remember, the Supreme Court is controlled by MAGA cult members. 5 of them, and probably a 6th one, the Chief Justice on the low, who really, he ain't owning up to the, MAGA cult member, but he kind of vote with him in most cases. Just fact. So you wrote that down. So student loan debt cancellation, child tax credits. The president wants to make sure that there is a national law that will protect women's reproductive freedoms, which means he wants to have a national law passed that will make abortions safe and legal. So a bunch of old ass men can't tell a 22-year-old woman what to do with her body. Or have her put in jail because she had a miscarriage. Like a young black woman in her 20s in Ohio. They're trying to give her a felony charge, put her in jail, facing a grand jury. I think they're deciding on it now. She had a miscarriage, so she lost the baby. Miscarriage that actually thought she was having a bowel movement, and the stillborn dead fetus came out, and they want to charge her with murder? Is that what we're doing? That's what the MAGA cult members are doing. That's what I'm talking about when I say it is a choice, not even between President Joe Biden. It is a choice between your freedom and your oppression. The first primary for the Democrats is going to be in a month, with really 3 weeks, February 3rd, for the state of South Carolina. Now, President Biden is the nominee, okay? And that's it. That's it, and that's all, full stop. But once again, and those are some of the things that President Biden talked about in the conversation that we had. So I'm sharing that with you, so you can share that with your friends. And understand that when you are voting for President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, you are voting for your freedom. And if you don't vote, and I'm just going to call it the way it is, if you're going to be silly or stupid or in your feelings or want to bite your nose to spite your face, as my grandmother used to say, then trust me, this MAGA cult that wants to oppress you in every form, this MAGA cult that wants to send the U.S. Marines and Army Rangers and Navy SEALs into the streets of Chicago where black folks and Hispanic folks are, and New York City and Atlanta and South Central Los Angeles and Houston and Detroit and Philadelphia, Newark and New York City, and allow police to shoot and kill people who are shoplifting or who they even think that are shoplifting or who are protesting about being oppressed, who said that they will be a dictator on day one, which will allow them to invoke the Insurrection Act and send the U.S. military to the streets of all the cities I just mentioned because you are peacefully protesting, so you lose those rights. And then you would have a national ban on abortions. Damn, a 6-week ban. It'd be a total ban from the minute the sperm hit the egg. And this is just not my opinion, that wants to basically fire all the government employees who are not partisan, who are not about Democrats or Republican, who just are experienced doing their job in the government. He wants to fire them and replace them with MAGA cult members that will do what he wants and will allow him to turn into a dictator. And if you don't think that that would be the first step to return this country to a place to where, because if he gets rid of the Constitution, that means he gets rid of the 13th Amendment that gives black people citizenship rights and your voting rights in the 14th Amendment and all those amendments, voting rights, civil rights. He suspends the Constitution, those rights are gone. Just like all of a sudden now in so many states like this, women don't have any reproductive freedoms. If a woman is raped, or a little teenage girl or younger is a victim of incest, which is rape, South Carolina, oh, sorry, too bad. Got to have the pregnancy, or you get her out of the state. But if this cult gets into power, you don't vote. And if you allow someone else, because once again, your vote for President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris is a vote for your freedom. And your non-vote or your write-in vote for Jill Stein or Robert Kennedy Jr., RFK, Robert Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr., with his crazy ass, or No Labels Party, or even the brother that we love as part of the culture, our culture as black folks, and who I have the utmost respect for, Dr. Cornel West, who has a snowball's chance in hell of becoming president in 2024, and he knows it. So come on, y'all. 2024, man, we don't have time. All right, we do not have time. We are standing on the edge. It's like, it's a ledge, and it's a big ass hole, or some people would call an abyss. We're standing right there, toes are hanging over, and a strong breeze will push us over. And if you want to have any idea, just study your history. Just look at 100 years ago, 80, 90 years ago. If you don't think that they would reinstitute Jim Crow laws that would make segregation legal, that would allow people to lynch black people without any type of consequences. In the Jim Crow era, people weren't convicted for murder. Not at all. Not at all. Lynching, murders, burning down neighborhoods. Now, that would be the attempt, but what this MAGA cult needs to understand is that this generation is not their great-grandparents and their grandparents' generation. So that ain't going to happen. But if you don't want to live in a country that you don't recognize, if you want to have an idea what a dictator looks like, just go to the History Channel, or don't go to the History Channel. You can do a Google or a Yahoo search. Look at Nazi Germany in the 1930s. And if you don't think what happened in Germany in the 30s to Jews primarily, and folks they call gypsies, and even people of color, or people who maybe had some type of handicap, because Hitler had a big thing for Jews. He didn't like black folks. White Aryan, pure white Aryan as he called it, blonde hair, blue eyes, which he wasn't. He wasn't tall, blonde, muscular, with blue eyes. He was a little short, sawed-off ass dude with black hair. So how you gonna be the leader of some fake-ass Aryan nation and ain't nothing Aryan about you? But your ideology, it hung his ass. So the hypocrisy in that is laughable if it wasn't lethal. So please understand, you are at the edge. There is, as a matter of fact, this cult, they got a plan. It's a booklet. It's in writing. You can even download it. You can download it on your phone. You can download it on your tablet. You can download it on your desktop computer right now. Just search Project 2025. Page by page, how they plan to use law, use the power that comes with being an elected official, how they can use the power of being in the president's seat, controlling the U.S. House of Representatives, controlling the U.S. Senate, controlling governor's mansions, controlling state House of Representatives, controlling state senators. That's how we came up with Jim Crow laws. That's how we came up with apartheid. That's how Nazi Germany came up with the Nuremberg laws, that were a set of laws that allowed them to discriminate and hate, seize their property, and eventually murder 6 million Jews. But do you know where Hitler got the idea? Where did he get the idea? And who had the outline and the blueprint for the Nuremberg laws? Guess where he got them from? The University of Arkansas's law school. 1933. The real Hitler sent a German Nazi lawyer to the University of Arkansas's law school so he could study the Jim Crow laws in America and say, well, wait a minute. Their constitution say all men are created equal, but if that's the constitution, but how in the hell did they have a whole separate set of laws, these Jim Crow laws, that allowed them to oppress, legally oppress and enslave a whole race of people? Shit, we need that. We got to figure that out. Go on over there to America and talk to them races over there at the University of Arkansas's law school. Copy and paste that. So you can come back, bring those books, so we basically can copy and paste what their laws, their Jim Crow laws look like, and replace Jim Crow with Nuremberg. Oh, I'm dropping pearls today. So yeah, make this episode go viral. So I'll give you more details about the conversation that we had with President Biden. He's a good man. He has a good heart, a good soul. He believes in people, and he believes in all people. And he believes, some people see the good in people. Now, he's in a position where he's got to be able to see the good and the evil. And he knows evil when he sees it, because he's seen a lot of evil. And before you say he's too old, orange jumpsuit jackass Hitler is only 2.5 years younger than him. So they both old. But who looks healthier? Joe Biden at 80, who still walks and runs and jogs, or dude that sits around and drinks a case of Diet Cokes and eats all this fried food and unhealthy shit clogging up his arteries? Just look at it. Who got the bigger gut? So Joe Biden may have orange jumpsuit jackass Hitler by 2.5 years, but his body looks 20 years younger than your boy. I'm just saying. Hello to my mother. How are you doing? And everybody else watching me live. Listen, I got to get out of here. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you, and especially you. And God, most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. on the West Coast. Please subscribe, share, screen grab, like, and binge watch all my back episodes. Shout out to Mr. Markel Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show, the CEO of Designer Cuts here in the Charleston, South Carolina metro area. Check him out on Instagram, on IG, Kel Be Cutting Up, KELBECUTTINUP. Allie Jones is the drip director. She's the official wardrobe consultant and stylist, fashion designer for the Geno Jones Show. Check her and her collection, her LX.N like Nanette, C like Charlie, L like Lexi, underscores that little dash, LX.NCL collection at LX.N like Nanette, C like Charlie, L like Lexi, underscore. The next live edition of the Geno Jones Show is going to be on Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Once again, I want to thank the South Carolina Democratic Party, Clay Middleton. I want to thank Alyssa, and I don't have Alyssa's notes in front of me. Alyssa with the South Carolina Democratic Party. Thank you, Alyssa. I think it was Alyssa Adams. I think it's like AA. I want to thank Michael Tyler, who works directly with President Biden. And thank you to all the Secret Service people that were really nice and didn't shoot me. I wasn't doing anything for them, too. But it was like, they didn't see this black man as a threat. I'm just being silly. But thank everybody. And shout out to my team at the radio station, operations manager, Stephen Crumley, who was big support and made sure everything ran smoothly. Paul O'Malley, the president of our company, DJ Tantrum, and DJ D Nice, who without their help, we wouldn't have got everything that we needed with the content. And to my sister, my radio sister by another mother, Miss Savannah J, my sister, just thank you. You know your brother got nothing but love for you. I love you. I appreciate you for just being you. Don't change. You like the song? Don't go changing. Love you just the way you are. Just the way you are. Oh, go on and hit that note, boy. Go on and hit that note. I got to get out of here, y'all. Just having fun. Brand new year. Happy birthday. My way out the door. Capricorns. Omari Hardwick. Ghost. For all you all that are big fan of the TV show Power, the brother that played Ghost. And he was Andre on Being Mary Jane. That was on BET. And, of course, Ghost was on Stars cable network. Omari is the big nickel today. 50 years old. Dancehall rapper Sean Paul, 51. He's 50 plus a penny. My man from Chicago repping the Chi-Town, 312-773-708. Funny brother, comedian. You saw him on Blackish. He was Charlie on Blackish. He was a writer for the Tonight Show with Conan O'Brien. And you see him in all the Old Spice body wash. Girl, give me my damn body wash back. So those TV commercials. Brother Deon Cole, who's a house music DJ. Shout out to my man Deon Cole. I got to get Deon on it. Anybody know Deon Cole? Tell him, hey man, hit your boy up. Hit me up, Deon. You doing your thing, brother. Proud of you. Remember when you was, the legendary open mic nights back in the day at the old Cotton Club, when Bernie was the MC, the late Michael Clark Duncan was the bodyguard, all that. And my man Deon Cole used to go down there and do his thing, and now he's killing it. Chicago got the funniest folks on the planet. No disrespect to nobody else. There's some funny folks. But the Chi. Enough said. Two names. Bernie, really one name. Bernie Mac. Bernard McCullough. My dude, my brother. Rest in peace, power in paradise. Love you, Bernie. And Robin Harris, who was really Bernie's idol. I ain't scared of you. All right, Matthew Knowles is celebrating a birthday. Record label owner, manager, visionary. Came up, created Destiny's Child. Beyonce's dad was her manager for a long time. Tina Knowles, her ex. Matthew Knowles, 74 today. Happy birthday, my Capricorns. We'll see you live Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Until then, yes, I will holler at you.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of The Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.